So it's not going to be that easy. It is definitely going to get complicated for many, many, many people in Canada right now. I know the immigration plans were announced yesterday. The numbers have been drastically cut down. But then there are mixed emotions about these new numbers that I've been hearing from people. There are some people who are really happy about these numbers because apparently inside Canada applicants will be given a lot of priority. But then there are also concerns with the actual number of people who will get their permanent residence. So while they might have given priority to inside Canada applicants and certain occupations, but still the numbers are going to be low, right? There will be almost a million people whose work permits will expire in 2025, by the end of 2025, and then about another 800,000 by 2026. So we're looking at about 2 million people whose work permits will be expiring by in the next 2 years. But those are not the kind of numbers we'll be seeing converting into PR. The numbers are far lower than that. If we go by the numbers that have been announced of 395 for next year and 380, we're only looking at about 700 to 800,000 people getting their PR. So how are we? What are the other million people, 1.2 million people going to do? They are ultimately going to leave Canada. An ideal thing would have been to give extensions on work permits so that people who are here can continue living here. And then ultimately over the next few years, they can, eventually get their permanent residence. I agree. LMIs are going to be hard. This is one strategy that I would use for some people that I work with. If your work permits are expiring, but your express entry scores are high enough, so let's say somewhere over 460, 470, it's a good idea to, even if your work permit's expiring, to let it expire, convert your status to a visitor, but then get a PR support LMIA so that you can at least get the additional 50 points and then apply for permanent residence eventually whenever you get an invitation to apply. This is for people whose work permits will be expiring. For people whose work permits they still have time for a couple years, maybe until 2026, 7, then now is the time for you guys to start working in high demand occupations or work towards improving your express entry score. Now, the way to increase express entry score, one of the ways was to get an LMIA, but that's out of question at this point. But then again, in the next 1 or 2 years, we don't know, maybe they bring back the LMI policy. Maybe these restrictions are only until elections. We don't know, right? Because there's no end date to it right now. Maybe LMIs become easier eventually. So people whose work permits are expiring in 26, 27, currently they should only focus on working on, improving themselves, like their scores. So whether that means improving your English, learning French, working in an occupation which is in high demand. So those kind of things are going to help you. But the bottom line is that a lot of people will eventually have to leave Canada because the rules are going to be really hard. The PNPs have also been cut down by half. So I think we're not going to see that many draws happening from provincial, the provinces anymore. They're going to be limited draws. I know OINP, skilled trades used to be very popular for Ontario. So we're going to see reduced draws. So while the numbers have been reduced, but then they are in favor of in Canada applicants, but I still think that it's always going to be, at least for the next 2-3 years, going to be the survival of the fittest. So everybody will have to work on themselves to improve their scores and be competitive. It's not going to be easy, as much as I hate to say that, but it's really going to be very hard in the next 1 to 3 years to get PR. But I still feel people whose work permits are until 2027 they still have time. Even 2026 you have time, but 2025 people, it's really going to be hard for you guys. That's about it.